In today's video, you will learn 5 SDR strategies that you need to know to blow up your pipeline. If you don't know who I am, my name's Trent. I've worked in software sales for 4 years. The reason why SDRs and reps in general fail to fill up their pipeline with abundance is because they don't know what actions to take, or is that they fail to take the necessary level of action to hit and exceed their targets. It's an art and a science. It's an art when you get someone on the phone, what do you actually say to convert the meeting? It's a science because it's a numbers game. The more calls you make, the more successful you're gonna be. Strategy number 1 to blow up your pipeline is don't reinvent the wheel. Use what is already proved to have worked with experienced colleagues who are top performers in your business today. One of the most common questions I get from people on LinkedIn and in the comments is, Trent, I'm about to start this new role. What do I do to be successful? And the answer is quite simple. In school, they told you that plagiarism was bad, but the most successful reps actually implement and take the best ideas, the best words, the best strategies of high-performing colleagues, repurpose it, and then use that approach in their own voice. So day 1, go identify who do you respect, who are the best leaders, set up a time with them, and understand what's working, what's not working. And that was my strategy day 1 in my software sales job. I was the worst performing SDR in the entire org my second month. It was discouraging. I called my mom and said, hey, things aren't going well. I don't know if this is gonna work out. I may have to move back to Ohio. And I ended up deciding to stick with it and set up time with the office leader. And he said, look, people who naturally think they're working hard are about 70% in. You truly need to be all in, burn the boats and say, I'm taking this island. I'm gonna be successful in this job, whatever it takes. Strategy number 2 is learn to hit your KPIs each and every day. KPI is a key performance indicator, and a lot of SDRs use vanity metrics. They measure call output, they measure how many emails they sent. There's a lot of different measurements you can do, but my framework for a successful day in the life looks like this. My goal is 8 points per day, and I assign 1 point to each activity that generates the outcomes I want. So 1 point for finding 10 new prospects to add to my sequence. 1 point for every live conversation. 1 point for every 10 custom emails or LinkedIn emails I send. 1 point for every set meeting. 1 point for every qualified opportunity. 1 point for every self-development hour or post on LinkedIn. You get the picture. The more of the right activities you do, the more successful you're going to be. And if you can measure it, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So you need to know what a successful day looks like. And as you think about your pipeline number, setting up however many demos you need to do, booking whatever meetings, start with that number, reverse engineer it, look at the successful KPIs and activities you need to be successful, and I promise you, it will change everything. Strategy number 3 is to learn your buyer personas and know what they care about inside and out. You as a buyer persona on YouTube care about engaging content, entertainment, educational value. So if you're enjoying today's video, hit the thumbs up button right now and subscribe to the channel for more sales videos. Knowing your buyer persona is knowing who you're selling to. So are you selling to the VP of HR, the VP of information security, the VP of marketing, the VP of finance, whatever it may be? Look at your buyer persona. What do they care about? What are the common challenges they face? Okay, the VP of human resources, employee retention, employee engagement, satisfaction, talent attraction, diversity, equity, inclusion. I know what they most likely care about, so that I can reverse engineer it and use my messaging to say, hey, on a day-to-day basis, dealing with employees is hard. Finding them, retaining them, and keeping them is even harder. This is how my solution can help. Here's a relevant example of a customer in your space that we have helped, and this is the outcome they recognize. Are you interested in setting up a brief introductory conversation? By understanding your buyer persona, it helps you be more focused, tailored, personalized in your approach, which is going to improve your probability of setting the meetings. And it also is important as you think about where do you spend your time. You look at your patch of business, your book of accounts, whatever it may be. You have 1,000 companies. You look at those companies, you prioritize them by revenue, employee count, industry, current customer, non-customer, former customer, whatever it may be. You look at those best accounts, and then the next step is who are your buyer personas? You then go into LinkedIn Sales Navigator, we use Zoom Info as well. I find who has my money, who are the buyer personas, I know what they care about, so I now can tailor and target my messaging directly to them so that I can find more success sooner rather than later. Strategy number 4 is to reach out across multiple channels. What I mean by this is, imagine you go to a website because you're interested in buying a new jacket. All of a sudden you go to Instagram and you see an advertisement for that jacket and you're thinking, are they watching me? That's pretty cool. You're talking to your friend on the phone, you talk about how hungry you are. Next thing you know, you see a McDonald's advertisement and you think, man, are they listening to me? They're targeting you with a multi-channel approach. Meeting you where you're at improves the probability of getting your attention. We live in an attention economy. There's more distractions than ever. There's a million videos you can click on. Your prospects are busy. They're VPs. They have teams. They have priorities at home. How do you get their attention? If they don't know who you are, they're never going to buy from you. So you need to get their attention. So where are the channels to get their attention? Email is probably the most common. Cold calling is my personal favorite. Direct to the source. And you also can use LinkedIn InMail to meet them right where they're at. And the message will show up on their phone and their desktop as well. Those are the 3 core channels. Additional channels is getting creative with your marketing team. So for example, we have a swag box that I can address and send to prospects directly on a more limited basis, but that's an additional channel. Sending a legitimate gift to get their attention and say, hey, you have this physical package, let's set up a meeting, let's take a message. Ultimately, the takeaway here is get creative, reach out multiple channels, and also persist across those channels. A lot of reps will send an email, make a call, send an email, make a call. They'll see their prospect even viewed it, and then they'll stop reaching out. For some reason, they'll give up. I contact the prospect at least 12 times before I stop. I have pre-built sequences, which is a combination of emails and calls, and I do that consistently over the course of a month. And then if they never get back to me, that's okay. I'll then re-add them to a sequence the next month and keep targeting them. I spoke with a guy today who told me 2 weeks ago that he wasn't interested. And I called him back today, and I've been calling him virtually every day. He's like, Trent, man, you've been really pressing me recently. And I said, yeah, I wanted to get your attention. He's like, what do you possibly think could have changed since we last spoke? And I said, well, maybe I took it out of context, but it seemed like we had and then he hung up right there. But I was persistent. He knew who Trent from Qualtrics was. There was no hiding, and it's because I reached out across multiple channels persistently over time, and it does pay off. You will get their attention. The 5th and final strategy is to collaborate with your internal team and resources. As an SDR, you have other SDRs on your team, and you most likely align to an account executive. You are focused on setting up meetings. You bring in your account executive. They qualify the opportunity so that you can get paid and put food on your table. As the SDR, collaborate with your account executive. I think that this is one of the biggest areas for opportunity for all reps out there. Even myself, someone who spent time as an SDR, who's now an account executive, I'm always asking myself, how can I work more strategically with my SDR to put them in a position to be more successful? So from the perspective of the SDR, which most of you may be, or maybe you're in another role, figure out how can you add value to others? And it starts with setting up time with your account executive and saying, hey, what do you care about? It may seem obvious, but ask them, what do you care about? Because if you don't ask, they never know that you're actually thinking about that. Reaffirm, look, I am here to make you more successful. In order for me to do my job to the best of my ability, we need to work together. We need to identify high potential accounts. I need to know where you think is worth me spending my time on. You as the SDR, set that context, invest in your account executive, and they naturally will invest back in you. As an account executive, I want to invest in my SDR, and here's the kicker here. Here's the punchline. Give with no expectation in return. I am flabbergasted by the amount of requests I get nowadays. I even went on someone's podcast the other day, and I said, yeah, I'll get on the podcast, no problem. And the next day I get on it. And then all of a sudden he's making more ask of me the next day. And I'm like, look, you're providing no value, and I've already given. I only have so much I can give. So you as the AE, you as the SDR, you only have so much to give, but give with the expectation of receiving nothing in return. And I promise you, by limiting those expectations, it will come off as more authentic, and it will deepen your relationships with people, and it will naturally attract more success to you. For those of you still watching, comment the light emoji below to light up the comments and let me know that you're still watching and engaged. I really appreciate your support, and if you enjoy sales videos like this one, click on the first link in my description below for my sales podcast. Episode 3 is live. Now, I really think you're gonna enjoy it and take away multiple actionable insights that you can apply in your job today to get to that next level. Thanks again for the support. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you in the next video.